Van ez a felfoghatatlan dolog, hogy ezekben az órákban, tehát a mai napon, október 20-án a Pussy Riotnak a 2 továbbra is bebörtönzött tagját most átszállítják valamikor Szibériába. És ezért gondoltam, hogy pár percig gondoljunk rájuk. Erről szól ez hogy le akarom játszani azt a videót, ami miatt ők most Szibériába kerülnek, olyan helyre, ahova Oroszországban hagyományosan kerülnek az emberek.
Csak kettőt csuknak be.
Sometime later, they rudely woke us at night and ordered us to ready ourselves for departure. They put us in vans with the logo bread, literally jammed us in, so we could hardly breathe. The van began to move. The air became so stifling that several women fainted. The van stopped, and we were put on cattle carts outfitted with plank beds. On the floor, in front of the doors, was a small hole, our toilet. The plank beds were made for 2 people. For those who were thin, it was not that bad, but for the bigger women, there was very little space. Soon the train started. We were given herring and bread and a bucket of water. The trip was exhausting and we lost count of the passing days. Nobody knew where we were being taken. At last, on dawn of one day, the train stopped and we were taken out. The station sign said Potma, so it was in the Moldovan Republic. What a picture it was! A line of women of various ages surrounded by a convoy of young soldiers walking along a forest road. Behind them, several carts with their belongings. The line seemed endless. It was a whole train. We walked for a long time. There were rest stops when we ate some bread. We were very thirsty. If one had to go to the toilet, it was done without any shame, right there in the crowd of women. Ludmila, 1937. We didn't know where we were going. We were herded into these cells to wait for the convoy to arrive and collect the matyoshki. They took us to the station. It was cold winter and we were left in these voronki in the freezing cold for 1.5 hours waiting for the train. Then the train came. First they took one load, then another man, and then the women. There was a 4-person compartment, but they put the 10 of us in alone with our cases. 10 people there, all with trunks in the compartment. We traveled like that on top of one another the whole way. Some young girls were traveling with us. They went further. We were all together even though they were juveniles. Even tuberculosis infected should have traveled separately, but we were all in together. We were only allowed to go to the toilet every 12 hours. They gave us prison rations, a jar of dried potatoes and a jar of oats, but no hot water. It was a nightmare, and the guard was some young man and he told us we had to entertain him, tell him jokes. It was just awful, so demeaning. There was one girl who had a very high temperature, but the convoy said she was putting it on. She was dripping wet with sweat all the way there, and they wouldn't let her go to the toilet alone. You had to be accompanied. But she took 2 steps and fell, so they just pushed her back in. Sonia, 2001.
So, going to Siberia or Strasbourg, this is two different directions, and the point is that we all can go to Strasbourg. There is a very interesting phenomenon. It's called MODEL EU, MODEL European Union. This is a big event once in a year. Everybody goes there, law students, everybody who goes to college wants to be there. So we can have another session parallel to this one. It would be European Court of Human Rights. This is the model one. So this is like no official verdict, but everything else will be official. Everything else will be real. The lawyers, the young law students, the witnesses, everything will be, the process will be perfectly cool. So next summer, Putin can have his verdict.